All right, what we're going to be working on today is building a guitar chord chart sheet, okay? And in this chord chart sheet, we're going to be using the worksheet that I give you. And normally I don't like to give worksheets, but this is not necessarily a worksheet like, oh, I'm just making you do a whole bunch of work because I need to put a grade in the grade book. This is a tool that you can take home with you, and if you ever want to pick up guitar again, you have this, at least you know how to read it. Or at least that's the goal, right? So the one thing I want to point out, though, is that this is new information to many of you. Some of you already know how to read a guitar chord chart, and that's great. But if I think back to the first time I ever played something like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, okay, when you first open the game and you start playing, you kind of just plop down into the center of a story and you have no clue what's going on. And if I treated that situation like, well, I don't know what's going on, this hurts my brain, I'm going to stop playing, I would have never continued to play the game. The same thing goes for any new skill that you're going to learn throughout your life. If you just quit before you ever try to do something new, then you're not going to learn a new task or new skill. So you may not be motivated to learn how to play guitar, but take this as a practice challenge to practice the art of just diving in and getting your feet wet. Okay, so I say all of that to say, if you get lost, this is a video. So it's not like in class when I have to keep moving on because I'm limited by the bell. If you get lost, like if I say something confusing in the next 30 seconds, guess what? You can press that pause button, go backwards in time, and play that section of my video as many times as you want. And that's the beauty of learning from a video, is that if you don't get something out of the video, you can always try to replay that section. Now, the downside is it's not live, so you can't interact with the person recording the video. And so if you can't see a certain angle and you need to see like something new, you can't just go, hey, can you show me and insert that thing here? So do your best to follow along, but all we're doing today is you're copying exactly what I do here on the page onto your page as I talk you through it. So you should have a page that has 8 different chord chart diagrams, okay? Your page also should have something up here that says basic guitar chord chart with your name and all of that. I didn't do that for this page because I wanted this to be very clean looking on the camera. So you'll have that as well. But the first chord chart we're going to do, this one here in the top left-hand corner, we're going to look at it first and just review what this actually means. Okay, now, I'm going to flip-flop here on my sheet and do something. You don't have to do this. So put your pencil down right now, because this is just for illustration purposes. Okay, but remember that these chord charts, okay, are a picture of a guitar. Let's see if you can see that better if I get down closer. So if the guitar was to hang on the wall and you were looking at it dead on from the front, this would be the headstock, HS for headstock. This is the nut or the plastic nut of the guitar, and this is the neck, and then down here would be the body. A chord chart takes away all of the picture of a guitar and leaves you with the information that you need to know. Well, gee, Mr. Fulton, I'm not going to use this later on in life because I'm never going to play guitar again. Not true. If I were to flip over my page here and draw this, and this is very rudimentary, so don't take this to the bank, but if I drew this symbol, okay, now that's not perfect, but that looks like a really weird drawing of something. But that's an electrician's schematic drawing. So let's say you want to be an electrician and you're good at wiring things and you need to read or even write schematic drawings. Guess what? That's what this is. This is a schematic drawing of a guitar. You only have the information in a schematic drawing that is the information that is the most necessary to know. I don't need to know that there are tuning pegs up here. I don't need to know that there's a headstock or a body. I need to know where the nut of the guitar is, which is this thick dark line here. I need to know where the frets are, which are the horizontal lines. And I need to know the strings, which are the vertical lines. Okay? This is string 1 over here, and this is string 6. So Easter bunnies get dizzy after Easter. And then these are the frets, fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, right? And on your guitars, you don't pick up your pencil and do this because this will confuse you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And your 5th fret, remember, the 5th fret has that fret marker, okay? Again, you don't need to put that on your paper, but just to give you the idea that this is still a picture of a guitar, right? So now pick up your pencil, and we're going to do our first chord chart, okay? And we're going to make this, we'll call it full C, okay? So full C, and you put the title of the chord right on top of the chart so you know what you're looking at. So cheater C was first finger, first fret, second string. Full C is just adding on to that. So I'm going to go to the first fret, which is this space right here. I'm going to go to the second string, which is the B string, Easter bunnies, and I'm going to put my first finger marker here, which means I'm just writing a number 1, and I'm making sure that the line of the string goes right through the center of that number 1, and I'm going to put a circle around it so that it obviously is number 1, first finger, first fret, this first fret space, second string. Now, if I play just a cheater C, I would put X's down here or X's up here to show that I'm only playing 3 strings. Okay? But that's not what's going on in a full C. In a full C, you're going to take your second finger or your middle finger and you're going to put it on second fret. Excuse me. The guitar is not wanting to sit down. Second finger goes to second fret and string 4. So here's my second fret space right here. String 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a number 2 here. And then the third finger is going to go to the third fret, string 5. So third fret, string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So your chord chart for full C should look almost like this, except for one tiny little change. Typically, we don't play the bottom E string, so I'm going to put a little X there. And then that just means that you strum from this string down to this string. So again, this says first finger, fret 1, second string, second finger, fret 2, string 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and third finger, fret 3, string 5, 4, 5. So your full C chord chart should look like this. Okay? If you need to, pause the video and make yours look exactly like mine. So then the next chord that we learned technically was a cheater G7, but then after that we learned G. So now you're going to put the word full G. You don't have to put full G. In fact, most chord charts don't have that, but this is just a reminder that we're not doing G cheater, which would just be our third finger, third fret, string 1. Remember, string 1 is over here, string 6 is over here. Third finger, third fret, string 1. If that was all we put, that would be cheater or easy G. We also have to add that finger 2 goes to the opposite side of the guitar, still fret 3, 1, 2, 3, but string 6. So finger 2 is going to go up here. And then we go to finger 1 now. We go to fret 2, string 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put my 1 here. Now, there is another version of the full G that includes the pinky finger, and I'm not going to do that right now. The other thing you're not going to see is me putting any X's, because the full G chord does not require us to skip any strings. So, again, if you want to pause your video so that you can make sure that this is copied down correctly, and then we're going to go on to the next chord. All right, so the next chord was our E minor chord. I know technically we did D7 next, but I want to get into E minor really quickly. E minor is a 2-finger chord that uses the whole guitar. So we start with our second finger, second fret, string 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third finger, second fret, string 4. So you can do that a couple of different ways. I just put them right next to each other. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy. I put them right next to each other. You might have to draw smaller than I did, but the other thing, remember, is that we play all 6 strings. So that is an E minor chord. Now, to get to the next chord that we learned after E minor, which was E sus. Okay, and I'm putting those in parentheses, or quotation marks, because is it really a sus chord? No. But that's what we're going to call it. So all we're doing is we're moving this finger to this string and this finger to this string. So we're going to have finger 2, fret 2, string 4, finger 3, fret 2 still, string 3. Okay? And so E minor and E sus are going to be the exact same shape. And so I might put a little arrow here to remind myself, same shape, different spot. Okay? Meaning my hand is making the same exact shape, I'm just shifting the shape by 1 string. Now, I'm going to pause here to remind you that the next chord that we learned, I'm going to put it here, was A minor. And anytime you have a minor chord, I didn't really explain it here. I put E minor with a line over it. That's just out of habit. Back in college when we were doing this, our teacher had trouble understanding if we were writing a lowercase m or an uppercase m, and those mean very different things in music. So he had us put a little line over the M to show that it's a lowercase m. But you don't have to do that. But the M stands for minor. So back to the full C for a minute. If I just covered up these fingers and only looked at this finger here, remember that's called a cheater C. If I go over to E sus, finger 2 and finger 3, string 4, string 3. If I add this C cheater to an E sus, I get an E minor. So let's build that here. So cheater C was finger 1, fret 1, string 2. Okay, if I just played that, that would be a cheater C, not an A minor. But I also have finger 2, fret 2, this fret space here, string 4. Easter bunnies get dizzy. And finger 3, fret 2, string 3, Easter bunnies get. So now that makes an A minor, and I do play all of the strings for an A minor. Okay? Now, E major, or just regular E chord, okay? all I have to do to get from an A minor to an E major, this finger has to go here. These two fingers have to go back here. So I'm going to put finger 1, fret 1, string 3, Easter bunnies get. And then it's just like having an E minor in the other two fingers. Finger 2, fret 2, and string 5. Finger 2, fret 2, string 4. So again, pause the video if you need some time to write those in. And those are the chord shapes for A minor and E minor. And again, A minor and A minor and E major, my mistake, are the same shape. You just shift that shape up or down one string. Okay? So, I go over here. The last two chords I want to look at are the D7 chord and the D major chord. Okay? So, D7 was simply a cheater C, first finger, first fret, second string, plus 2 fingers. Second finger, second fret. Hold on, I don't want to give you bad information. Yeah, that's right. Second finger, second fret, string 3. Third finger, second fret, string 1. But remember, you only play the bottom 4 strings. So we're going to put an X here, and an O here, just meaning that this string is played open with no fingers. And so you strum string, let's try those words again. Strum string 4 all the way down. Now, D major is a very similar shape. If I only took the shape of D major, I'm going to go back to this for just a second. If I only took the shape of D major, or D7, okay, I have a finger here, a finger here, and a finger here. So it's kind of like this triangle shape when I make the chord chart. D major is the same triangle, but the triangle is here, here, and here. So fret 2, the same 2 strings are fretted in the same spot each time. For D7, the other part of the triangle is on fret 1, whereas in D major, it's in fret 3, which gets a little confusing, but it's just a thing to notice as you're playing the guitar. So how do I make that chord shape happen? Well, it's a little different because your fingers don't stretch very well to get to that D major chord if you use the same finger shape. So this is what I like to call, hand shape wise, not same shape. It looks like it on the paper, but you're going to have to use different fingers. So finger 1 is going to go fret 2, string 3. Finger 2, fret 2, string 1. Notice though, I'm still fretting the same frets on the same strings as D7. I just have to use different fingers now, because now I have to reach finger 3, fret 3, string 2, whereas before it was up here. Okay, so D major is finger 1, fret 1, string 3, finger 1, fret 2, string 3, finger 2, fret 2, string 3, and finger 3, fret 3, string 2. Okay, so I'm going to go back through these and just kind of put each one of them underneath the camera if you need to pause and copy again, or you can run it back to when I explained the full chords. Either way. So there's a full C, full G, E minor, E sus, A minor, E major, D7, and D. Now, There are way more chords available than this, but remember, these are the basic, the most fundamental chords you are going to find when it comes to rock and roll guitar, or any guitar really. If you can play a C, G, D7, and some of these other little extra chords, you can, with a capo, play most of the songs out there available for guitar. All right, so hopefully at the end of this, you will have a full chord chart. Make sure your name is on it, and then you're going to turn it in at the end of class so I can just check your progress.